It is Peeled, and we are back for another episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Jared Walsh here with Daniel Norton. Wait, no, it's not. This is unbelievable. We've gone in for the sub, but this is the super sub. But let's just say Daniel Norton has been omitted, and on debut is Jamie Anderson from the Port Adelaide Football Club.
Hello, Jared. Thanks for having me. I'm a bit of a seat warmer. I feel like an imposter.
No way.
But I'm very happy to be here.
What's your Port story? How did you get involved with the football club?
My Port story is that I have been at Port Adelaide for about 3 years in a media manager role, and I have known Daniel Norton for a number of years before that as I made my way into sports media, and he was, kind enough to mentor me and catch up with me through a period of time, and reached out to me when the AFLW team came in and said, hey, do you want to come and help us set up the media strategy for this program, which has been amazing. And now I work full-time in the AFL. So I'm loving my time at Port Adelaide, and it's a great club and full of great people.
And we today had the opportunity to speak to someone that you know very well, and also you're looking forward to giving him the chance to tell his story as well, because we've heard a lot about him, but we just haven't seen much of him playing football. Yeah,
exactly right. I think we all adore Jack so much, and we want people to see him in the way that we do. And as a media manager, I don't ask injured players to do a whole heap because they're going through their own battles in that time, and it's hard for them to talk about a game perhaps they're not playing in. And so we haven't got to hear from him much this year. So I'm really excited for this chat and really excited for the fans to hear from Jack and his about his year in his own words.
So we're going to talk about being picked up at number 2 in the draft, what that was like, his experience at the Gold Coast Suns, how he decided between Port Adelaide, and of course, the dark times going through injury. And then we'll get to know things like about Mitch Georgiades as a housemate, his dog, and why Matt Rowell eats grass. There's lots. And you've got some really good, short, sharp questions where probably you will ask Jack the most challenging question he has ever been asked, and that is to determine between two of his best mates.
Oh, yes.
Hard-hitting stuff.
You'll have to listen into the end to see how that ends up.
It's another episode of Peeled, and our guest today is Jack Lukosius. Jamie, I'm going to show my age here and express how old I feel, because I feel quite fatherly at the moment, and I'm like 41, even though I look 60. One of my favourite times of the year is Sandful finals, because you get to go to Adelaide Oval and you get to watch, the best of the Sandful, but then you also get to watch some of the younger kids play, and there's a futures game and stuff like that. And I can actually remember years ago watching our guest play, thinking that there's actually 2 people that I've watched play football as juniors, and I've thought they are going to make waves across the country. One of them was Cozzy Pickett, and the other one is Jack Lukosius. Jack, thanks for joining us on Peeled, mate. I do feel quite fatherly, but far out. You've come a long way.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Time flies. I still remember those sample times pretty fondly, but yeah, about 8 years ago now. So
it's unbelievable to see like your journey, and you're back here now in South Australia. I wanted to ask you to start off with, I am such a ambassador of the go home factor because I love my family, right? You don't get a choice where you're drafted, and we can talk more about that soon, but I am so much about spending time with my loved ones. How important is it for you to be back in South Australia with friends, with family, and being part of their lives at a really important part of your life?
It's been pretty special. I think I wasn't necessarily homesick. Like, my family flew up to the Gold Coast a lot. I reckon between 18 and 23, when I was up there, you grow up a lot as a young man. Like, it was kind of good missing a few family dinners and kind of making mistakes by yourself. But this year hasn't quite gone to plan for me, and to have all their support around me through some tougher times has been cool. My sister's engaged and getting married soon, so I've been around for all of that. I've got a puppy and been injured, so the puppy's been getting shopped around to nanas and mums and sisters and everything. So I think, it's probably been better than I thought coming back to family.
Jared, it's funny you say you feel like an old man dad, but I
Yeah.
feel like as a media manager of a football club, like a mum and a proud mum of 45 children, which is hard and you can never pick your favourite. But I think from the second that Jack arrived at the club, we kind of fell in love with him as a media team, and we wanted to do this today to make sure other people did too, because our fans haven't had the chance to hear from him much this year, not getting a consistent run at it. Let's go back to a few years back when pre-draft, you were a really promising young cricketer and played some state cricket. There was a point where you had to make a choice. Can you talk about your cricket days and why it was football in the end?
Yeah. I love both sports from 5 or 6. Dad pretty much ran my local cricket club, Fulham Cricket Club. So I kind of grew up watching him play when I was little all day Saturday, and then playing myself all day Sunday. And yeah, it was kind of summer cricket, winter footy for me. And then about 16, 17, I was still going reasonably well at both, and then I got some stress fractures in my back playing cricket, and then I kind of made the decision. That winter, I did a lot of bowling in the nets over here at Adelaide Oval, and wasn't overly stimulating, in the freezing mornings during footy season, bowling and stuff like that. So I think the love of training for footy outweighed the love of training for cricket. I still love playing cricket and the competitiveness with it, but I think when I was like, okay, I want to do this hopefully for a job for the rest of my life, I want to absolutely love it. So that's kind of what pulled me over the line.
So then at what point of your childhood do you start preparing to play AFL footy? Because your name was spoken about a lot, and we can talk about the pressures of that really soon. But while you're playing both sports, obviously the physical makeup of a cricketer compared to the physical makeup of a footballer are very different. So now we see kids start preparing at age 10 to go, let's start getting diet and gym and all this stuff. What was it like for you?
To be honest, I was a player. I loved playing. So I think from about 13 or 14, I had lots of people in my ear saying, like, you're bloody good at footy. Like, you're a chance here. You hear lots of things and you don't know who to believe or what to believe. You're so young. So I think maybe around 14 or 15, I made under 15s All-Australian team for footy, and that's like a pretty decent indication that you're going all right. So that's when some, decisions in your life, you get put in some squads, you start taking footy pretty seriously. I don't think I ever took cricket that seriously. Cricket was more of an outlet. I could play at school, play local club, a bit of state stuff that I would just go out and perform and have fun and compete. But footy was, you're out there at park by yourself, you're doing conditioning sessions, you're doing craft. That was kind of more the passion for me, yeah.
And you, with a lot of people that play football now, you've got to play for your school as well. So how does that work when you're playing for the Eagles and you're playing for school and you want to get drafted, like all that kind of stuff? There's a lot of football happening. Does that become a focus and school kind of goes to the back of your mind?
A little bit. Like, I was always footy focused and never strongly schoolwork assignment focused. But what the AFL Academy do a pretty good job. They kind of oversee, I was in it from under 16s onwards. They kind of oversee your state coaches, your sample coaches, your school coaches, and then because you're so young, you can get pulled in all different directions, and they manage your training loads and your game loads so that you're not burning out at 17, 18 before you've even, made the league or done anything too important. So I think, I was lucky I was in lots of good systems that had some great people in there that can put you on the right path.
Let's go back to draft night. So you've been in the system, I think it's your 7th year now in the AFL. You'd obviously been spoken about as someone that could potentially go, 1 or 2. Do you look at that now and think there was a lot of pressure there? I'm kind of glad maybe I didn't go number 1.
Yeah, to be honest, since you kind of get picked up, you don't tend to look back too quickly. I still remember getting to the airport in the morning with family and stuff, and Kenny was on the flight over. He's like, all right, you're going to Gold Coast. He let me know straight away just before I even knew, and he told Connor, we're going to get you. So he was all across it, and you know him, he can't hold a secret in for too long. He's keen to have a chat. So it was an amazing experience. I kind of knew I was either going to Carlton or the Goldie, so I was leaving home. I loved all my time up there. Went up there with a great crew of lads and got some friends I'll have forever.
There's a big difference, though, between being number one and number two, and that's the pressure that comes with it. So we see Sam Walsh and everything that happens with a number one draft pick, Harley Reid, Jack Watts. Like, you go back to all of these players and there's nothing that separates one and two if you're looking at the numerical system, but there's a lot. Do you have an element of gratitude that you haven't had to deal with the pressure of being a number one pick based in Victoria, and you almost got to be playing in the Gold Coast while you were surrounded by lots of other high draft picks?
Yeah, it probably is a blessing. I think I won't be able to tell you what the pressure of a number one pick is because I'm not one. I couldn't tell you what Walshy or Harley Reid or
Jason Horne-Francis
or what Horney and these lads have gone through. But yeah, I loved getting drafted up there. I don't think I got put in the absolute ideal situation. They lost both captains the off-season. I went up there. I think there was like 14 list changes. We lost about 19 games in a row in my first year. So like kind of what West Coast are going through at the moment. It was not ideal times for a young player trying to make it in the league, play consistent footy.
Who was your most senior player there then in your first year, off the top of your head?
Jared Harbrow was... So I think Dave Swallow and Witsy were first year as captains. They were mid-20s. But Jared Harbrow was the senior figure of the club. Pierce Hanley, Michael Riscatelli, some of these guys who didn't last too much longer. But
well, they're reflections of the original recruits from other clubs, really.
Yeah. No, Harbs is still up there now. Rish was probably the one where he had an amazing career at Brisbane and stuff, and he's one looking back now that's pretty funny that we're running alongside him.
Yeah.
During that time when you say, you lost 19 games in a row and you've got a lot of inexperience around you as a young player trying to make your way, how does a coaching group and how do the leaders get you guys up every week to play? And what's that mindset like as a teenager?
Yeah, it's a challenge. Like, clearly development was a main focus. We're going out there to compete and win, but we had to kind of measure our success in other ways. We weren't probably ever going to make the 4 or the 8 or anything like that. But yeah, we kind of had good development coaches, worked on our games. I personally started forward, went to a wing, finished down back, so I played a little bit everywhere. Kingy came in. Isaac didn't play at all in his first year, so it was kind of a different year across the board. But those first couple of years were, had to measure success in different types of ways because you had to find belief in yourself throughout the week you're going to get the job done again the next week.
That's such a good question you ask as well, Jamie, because like the thing that we don't see enough when it comes to people that are drafted so high, they're familiar with winning and success. And you go from winning and being at the top of your game and you walk into an organisation where they're not familiar with winning. So you have to change your mindset, as you said. So for you, you're in a different city playing in a team that really, until 2024-25, no one really took the Suns that seriously. Internally, there's also change as well. You have coaches changing over, your positional changes. So what do you actually do to keep your mind ticking over and keep motivated for you as a person?
I think maybe the first year and a half were the years where I was like probably struggling that we weren't competitive basically. But I think from 21 onwards, we probably didn't have the amazing success, but we were like in games for longer, believed we could win games. We upset a few teams every now and then. We weren't getting smashed. We were very consistent. So that's when it felt more like you're part of an AFL team. You're part of something with hope, with a trajectory that we're going to make finals. We're going to make it. So it's all part of the journey. There's a core group there that have put in a mountain of work, and it's probably taken them a bit longer to reap some rewards. It's taken all the way till probably this year where they've found the belief. But it's all part of the journey, as I said.
I have one more question about the Suns. A lot of people like to escape the bubble of Adelaide or Victoria and go to places like the Gold Coast or to Sydney so they're not recognised. Are you a type of person that when you were preparing to be drafted, you were looking forward to people recognising you, Jack Lukosius, as an AFL player? Or you thought, this is great, I can actually walk around the Gold Coast and I can go to SeaWorld and no one will know who I am? Because there's a bit of ego in there, of natural ego, where you want the to people to go, yeah, awesome, I've made it, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean by that, but I think what I always wanted was to let whatever I was doing to do the talking, let my football do the talking. So I think whether you're in the Gold Coast or you're in Melbourne, if you're playing good football, you're going to be recognised well. Obviously, it might take a little bit more at an interstate club, especially up there. But no, I wanted to, fulfil my potential, get the best out of myself. That was kind of the way I've looked at footy, and was probably a big part in the decision I made end of last year. Yeah.
I know you and Connor Rozee are best mates and you have been for a long time. What is it about each other you think? Why do you gravitate towards each other, and why have you stayed so tight over the years to the point where I'm sure he had an influence on you eventually making your decision to end up at Port Adelaide?
Yeah, it's an interesting friendship. We met through cricket when we were about 10 or 11, so a long, long time ago. We made like some under-14 cricket squad, and we were both pretty young. And they put us in a dorm room at Scotch College in a cricket camp together. Everyone else was about 14, we were about 11. So we got pretty much got forced to spend a couple full days together. So a bit of a forced friendship early. But then, yeah, it's been pretty natural. Like, we've got a similar sense of humour. We always seem to be laughing and smiling about the same things. And he's just a good guy, really. So, no, we've stayed in plenty of contact while I was up on the Goldie, in different situations. But knew that this was always potentially on the cards at some point throughout my career.
You're obviously a better cricketer than him as well.
Don't know. He was very good. He gave it up way too young. He was a very good cricketer. Yeah.
He did tell me yesterday that you were much better than him. So when
really?
doing my research, he said you were a much better cricketer than he was. So
Well, yeah, he was a very good batsman. Like, I know it's under 12s, which is very young, but he won the batting in the under 12 nationals. Like, he was a good player, and he gave it up at about 14 or 15. He was very young. So, as you can see with what he does, he's pretty naturally talented at most sports.
We've spoken to Brandon Zirk-Thatcher on Peeled, who told us he spent $15,000 on a Pokemon card once or something like that. Can you remember what you spent your first paycheck on? Because you're drafted as a young kid, and then you look at your bank account and naturally you go, holy shit, this is real. Like, there's an element of that. Can you remember your first big purchase?
Not really. To be honest, I was pretty boring. Like, lots of matches in my first year, but didn't spend anything ridiculous. I bought a house in my second year. Like, I was...
That's a big purchase.
that's a pretty good purchase.
Yeah. So, like, I was...
19.
I kind of, was drilled pretty hard by the family, manager and stuff, save money, do this, do that. I was living with the CEO on the Gold Coast, in a fair pad, free rent. So, I didn't have too many troubles up on the Goldie early days.
So let me ask you about that, because again, it's I think stuff a lot of people don't see when it comes to you having a manager and being a high earner. Do you have conversations where, in some instances, the manager will take care of your money and pay you an allowance and things like that, so you basically get a wage? So the AFLPA do a really good job of making sure that Australian rules footballers do the right thing financially for them during and after their career. So you learn how to manage money because of how short-term an AFL career can be.
Yeah, I think they still do it now. I'm talking to the young draftees at our club, but you generally get however much you need to live throughout the week, $300, $400 to get your groceries, whatever else you need to spend money on, and then the rest will go into your savings, hopefully, that you can't touch. And then if emergencies or you need to spend money or you lose a bet and need to pay for brekkie for everyone, you might need to give the manager a call and get it transferred over. But that's generally how lots of boys do it for their first or second years. When you go from earning nothing to earning a fair bit, you can end up spending a fair bit as well. So I think most managers are pretty strong at building good habits in AFL players pretty young.
So a manager then, we should go to the role of a manager when you say, hey, there might be an opportunity to move back to South Australia. So that was well documented last year. You played on basically every position on the ground. How do you deal with that? And how do you deal with communication from different coaches? So I'm assuming, did you just have Stuart Dew and Damien Hardwick as coaches?
Yep.
So their communication styles might be quite different. we've seen both of them, especially throughout COVID with the Making Their Mark documentary. How do you deal with a new coach coming in and saying, I'm going to try something different?
Yeah, it was exciting times. Like, we kind of, as I said before, we were very competitive under Dewey, but couldn't quite take the next step. And the club decided that a new coach is what we needed. So it was exciting times for everyone. It wasn't, last year didn't quite go to plan for me. I found myself having a couple good years up forward before Dimmer came in, and then by about round 2 last year, he'd seen me as a defender, and I was playing across half-back, which I'd done a fair bit previously. So I worked through that with the backline coach and tried to play the role as best as I could, and then mid-year ended up a bit of forward, tiny bit of ruck, which is, looking back, a bit bizarre.
You and Jared Witts in the tap outs.
Yeah, it just didn't quite work for me last year, and by the end of the season, it kind of, as I said before, it made me think that you only get one career, and I want to get the absolute best out of myself and my football, and maximise my potential. And I kind of got to the decision that my best footy might potentially be somewhere else. Yeah.
Can you talk us through that process? I think people would be quite interested in how that works. Is that something that you talk to your family, go to your manager? How long does that take, and what is that process like in the lead up to that trade period?
Took me a long time. Bit of a deep thinker, and even when you said jump on this podcast yesterday, I needed to take half an hour, have a good think about it, see if I was up for it. So it took me a long time. Firstly, I loved the club up there. Firstly, to make the decision that to play football somewhere else, that was probably the hardest decision. That took, I probably was on my mind throughout the season, and it took till after the season even finished to decide, okay, I'm going to go elsewhere. And then the next hardest decision was probably choosing where to play. I spoke to some great clubs, and there's no right or wrong decision. I just had to make what decision I thought was best for my career, for my football. And then from there, it's basically get to work, and you've got a few years to make sure that you've made the right call and do all the work you can. Which unfortunately went off to a flying start, but a bit of luck next year and a bit more hard work, and I think I'll be in a good spot.
Have you had a moment where you've had to actually stand back though and go, I tell you what, the year I leave the Suns, they're playing finals, and the team that I go to are not playing finals? Like, it's the irony in that is, I don't like it, but it's, it's strange. It's been a pretty grim year, to be honest. Like, watching a lot of football, watching us, and then the rest of the league. But they've done a heap of work up there, and they're playing some great footy. I think that was coming either way. I knew leaving them that they were in a pretty good spot, that they were going to turn the corner. And I know our season hasn't gone the way we wanted, but I still think our list is in a great spot. There's obviously going to be a fair bit of change into what we're about to go through over the next few months, and I think it'll be for the better. Yeah. So we can talk about individually in Port Adelaide in a moment, but what does the tour of a football club look like when clubs are trying to sell themselves to you? Because you went to a couple of them, and then and you'd be across this, Jamie, like when stuff gets out, I think players sometimes go, a lot of it's bullshit, and then sometimes media managers go, how does this get out? But like, what does a tour look like when a club is trying to say, choose us?
Yeah, well, both clubs here were almost too frightened to let me in the walls, just because cameras and the amount of people just around Adelaide, around footy clubs. So they were, all my meetings were pretty secretive at houses or at hotels and stuff like that. But yeah, they just present their vision of where they think they're going, where that
Do they Photoshop you in a Guernsey?
No, I think both clubs here went against that, because they kind of knew my personality a bit and knew that wasn't quite me. But yeah, they're kind of selling where they're at, what they've been through, and where they see their club going, basically. It's as simple as that, and how they see me fitting in. And I saw a spot in the forward line. I wanted to be a great forward at Port Adelaide with a pretty star-studded midfield, and I think it's a great place for me to play my best footy, yeah.
Speaking with Connor yesterday to, do a bit of research into you, he said that you told him on Brownlow night that you'd made a decision, but only that morning or the day before you'd almost gone the other way. What's that like when you finally get to that decision, and are you still questioning that? And then is it like telling people makes it become real then, and that's what it is that's like, yep, I'm doing this?
Yeah, it was relief. It was like a month of either way. Like, as I said before, both clubs are in good situations that I couldn't really lose, but I had to make a good call to go forward. So, no, absolutely, it was a relief. Yeah, well, I kind of made the call a couple of days earlier, and then on the night of the Brownlow, I think my manager had met with Cripper and told me that it was all good. So I let Connor and Zach know, and they were stoked and had a couple of drinks afterwards and spoke about how good times are going to be to come.
So with that, and the team loses a prelim final and there's pressure, the team loses Todd Marshall, and we're like, okay, so we've got Jack Lukosius. Absolutely no problem. We've got Sam Powell-Pepper coming back. This is fantastic. I'm pretty sure you kicked the first goal of the season for the Port Adelaide Football Club against Collingwood. Yep. So you were the first goal kicker in 2025. And then shortly after that, a couple of weeks in, you go down injured. How much have you personally carried the weight of expectation and pressure and therefore disappointment in the way that your body's let you down this year?
Yeah, I felt like I had a great pre-season. I felt like I was in a great spot to just play that role up in the forward line. Devastating when Toddy went down earlier, but I personally felt ready to go. And then 20 seconds into that Richmond game, round 2, I put my knee into someone, and somehow I came up second best and cracked my kneecap. So it was pretty devastating. The first week or two were probably the toughest, the realisation that it's not going to be the perfect year, the year that I had planned and prepared for. But then you pretty quickly create new goals in the gym, in rehab. You get a timeline. Okay, how can I beat that timeline? How can I get back quicker and better? And I was on a great path with that. And then had a little back spasm in the gym about halfway through that rehab. And then, that's where probably my darkest few weeks, a month where I thought Jamie would have seen me around the club, not in the highest of spirits.
Can you break down darkest for us? Like, what's going through your head at that point? When you have your lowest point, what does that mean for you as a person?
Yeah, well, the back injury was just very sore. Like I was called listed, so my spine was on a bit of an angle. You would have seen me walking around the club, not quite straight. Couldn't really bend forward or backwards at all, and was struggled to sit down. So that was right in the middle of the season where it was important games coming on for our season, and I wasn't seeing progress. Like I was in pain. The next couple of days weren't getting better. I had a few injections and whatnot that you have, and I wasn't seeing progress. So they were tough times. I wasn't sleeping overly well and things like that. So I think the fact that I'd put a heap of work in and then had a setback and then wasn't progressing through that the way I wanted to was bloody tough, as well as watching the team not go as well as we wanted. And I think I was watching the games unfold with my role somewhat empty and thought, gee, I could be having a fair impact here for our season. So, a frustrating period and a frustrating year, but it was good to get back and play a bit of footy, in the second half of the year.
You've made some really good friends since coming across, and I think Connor's probably been that nice bridge for you to, get to know the guys, but you've been living with Mitch Georgiades all year. Before we talk a little bit more about what he's like as a housemate, perhaps, how proud of him have you been watching him just absolutely kill it this year, carrying that load when you and Todd and Sam Powell-Pepper and others haven't been able to be there to support him?
Yeah, he's had an amazing year when you think about it like that, with the lack of help that he's potentially had up there. He's got home from some games and some away games where I've gone, sorry, mate, wish I could have been out there to help you today. But no, he's been incredible. And I think, well, personally for me, I'm excited by how I can even make him better next year and how I can get better. But yeah, I think we're going to try and feed him the rest of this season and get him as high as he can on the goals tally.
Get him to 60. When
you talk about friends, Jamie was telling me that you also have really good relationship with a cow who eats grass pre-game, and that's Matt Rowell. I'm fascinated by Matt Rowell because he's such an incredible footballer, but he seems to be such a deep thinker of the game as well. He's a number one pick. He's had his own challenges through injury and stuff. Can you tell us a bit about him as a person and your relationship with him? Because I tell you what, mate, like I feel like in 10, 15 years, we're going to look back and see one of the game's greats.
Yeah, he's a ripper. He's I lived with him for maybe 4 years up on the Gold Coast. Yeah, he's just a great bloke. He doesn't really care what anyone thinks. He does what works for him. He's incredibly strong-minded, as you can probably see with lots of things that he does. But no, he does things his way and backs himself in probably more than anyone I've ever seen.
When did you first see him eat grass?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. We did a lot of grounding up there, so a lot of mindfulness, barefoot on grass, a few things like that. And yeah, we ended up grabbing a fair bit of grass while we did our mindfulness. And then a few boys took the piss and pretended to eat it. And then all of a sudden he's eating it. And it was like, he kind of did it to us as a bit of a gag, like a bit of a laugh pre-game to cool everyone's nerves a bit. And then I think he must have played right or something and became fully part of the routine. And then the vision came out where it looks a bit ridiculous. And I still remember the media manager calling him a couple of weeks before it was released and said, "There's some good vision of you, mate. We're trying to hold it back. Channel 7 have got it. We've told them they can't use it." And then before you knew it, I think Gazy rolled with it on bounce.
Yeah.
I think he's had some stuff like that, writing in the diary, a few things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be more to come. He's someone that is so comfortable in his own skin that if he feels like he wants to do something, he'll just do it.
I love it.
And it sounds like you guys have kept in touch a lot. I think Mitch's exact words were, I think they talk each other to sleep every night. Any truth to that?
No, not that close. We did have our Premier League draft last night or 2 nights ago, and he had picked 1 and I'd picked 2.
That's quite coincidental there.
And he's shocking technology. Like, he's reply to phone calls, reply to texts. Like, he's a media manager's worst nightmare. Like, he just doesn't respond on his phone. He's good in person, but don't get him on the phone. So he had technical difficulties and timed out on pick 1 and didn't get the player he wanted. And then I took Haaland at pick 2. So
that's not bad.
They're working through potentially if we can do a deal to get the player he wanted. But yeah, I'll make him pay up if that's the case.
That's amazing that you guys both went number 1 and 2, and you have both number 1 and 2 in the draft as well.
Although he couldn't get number 1 because he doesn't know how to use technology. But no.
I know that Jamie's got some quickfire questions for you very soon. I have a Gold Coast question for you. I've just come back from the Gold Coast with my family, and it was interesting to say the least. We went to the theme parks.
Okay.
So as part of your playing contract with the Suns, did you get free access to the theme parks? And which one was your favourite? And do you go on scary rides?
So I loved theme parks as a kid, Gold Coast holidays, but I think I only went once to any of the theme parks in my time up there. It's unfortunately not something that you tend to do on your time off.
And there's Top Golf there as well now, Jamie, like next to Movie World and Wet and Wild, there's Top Golf, which is really good.
Yeah, Top Golf got to hit a fair bit. Line activities, with your forwards or your backs, you end up at Top Golf. One thing that I loved up there was Jared Harbrow, I spoke about him earlier, on the line activities when I was playing down back. He used to take us all out mud crabbing through the rivers. So, like, you do a line activity now, it might be a coffee or I don't know. So
line activity is you going out with the forwards or the defenders,
maybe
right,
on
as a group?
On a half day.
Okay.
A bit of training at the club and then spend a couple of hours together.
Yep.
Bit of connection. But he used to send a pin on a map on some creek, half an hour into the hinterlands. All of a sudden you rock up and you bring some old shoes and he's got a few spears and you're walking around the creek in the middle of the season. So
wow,
that's a cool line activity that we did up there. Yeah.
Have you been to the theme parks before?
Not since I was about 12.
Yeah, they haven't changed.
Yeah, I imagine not. In fact, they've probably gotten worse.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we do love them, but I stayed at one of the theme parks resorts and I felt like I was in the 90s. It was.
Is there a theme park bandit up at Gold Coast? Someone who just goes on the weekends? A player? Dob someone in?
Nah, it's No,
No.
no one really loved the theme parks. We used to do White Christmas at Movie World through one of the sponsors, and that was a pretty cool experience the way they do that. But I don't know. A few lads might go Wet and Wild, a few water slides when it's hot in pre-season, maybe.
It's not to all. Everything was closed when I went there. Even the wave pool at Wet and Wild was closed. So it was just basically wild. It wasn't even wet at Wet and Wild. So, Jamie, you've got some hard-hitting questions, I believe.
I do. Before I ask you about them, though, I do want to touch on one really nice thing from this year. I know you've got a puppy this year who has, by all reports, absolutely destroyed Mitch's backyard. Tell us about the new little bundle of joy in your life.
Yeah, she's been great for me. Not so much for Mitch, I don't think. But yeah, I got a couple of days post knee surgery at the start of the season, so plenty of time at home training her and stuff like that. But
What's her name?
Her name is Lexi, an Australian Shepherd. She's about 6 months old now, so she's going great. We had a little trip to the vet Saturday morning on my birthday, on game day on the weekend, but she's come out strong and on a chicken and rice diet, so it's probably the best thing that's happened to her. She's loving all the food now. But
Cone around the head?
Nah, not yet. Dissecting's coming up. I'm somewhat planning on getting that done just before I go away and handballing that one to mum and dad to deal with her throughout that time.
Good call. We've got like a little cavoodle at home that's 2 years old and still poos and wheeze inside. And it's like I wake up in the morning and it's like you're standing around landmines trying to avoid what you're standing on. Is it toilet trained, your dog?
Yeah, she's very good. Early days, sore knee, sore back, and she wasn't quite toilet trained. It was tough for Mitch. I couldn't bend below my knees. Couldn't pick her up.
So Mitch actually got a puppy this year, is what you're saying?
Yeah, there were some tough periods at home and dealing with everything throughout the middle of the season. Yeah,
Mitch has had a tough year carrying the forward line and carrying the dog.
All right, should we quick fire?
Go for it.
All right, I've got a list. Don't think about it too much. Can explain your answer if you need to.
No, let's go.
All right, coffee order.
Small flat white.
Most fined teammate.
As in football fines or club
Football
fines?
or like football fines.
Oh, well, Zach, I think, broke the record, but Christian Moraes around the club, he gets done for everything.
Yeah, okay. Favourite restaurant in Adelaide?
Show, about 100 metres from my house.
Okay.
Favourite coffee spot in Adelaide?
It's probably still, I don't live there, but Grange Jetty Cafe.
Would you rather always feel like you need to cough or always feel like you need to pee?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Cough. Both yucky. Cough.
Most famous person that follows you on Instagram?
Travis Head.
That's good.
Maybe.
Good one. Best movie ever made?
Blades of Glory is my answer for every movie question.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
TV show you can watch over and over again?
Lots. Game of Thrones, The Office. I'm a big TV show. Lots.
UK or US Office?
US, but I've watched UK not long ago.
What's something we don't know about Mitch Georgiades?
Loves Lego.
Oh.
Yeah, he's got a bit of OCD and stuff like that, and that's how he kind of locks in and
I like that.
spends his couple of hours. He's built a few cool things this year.
I like that too. Teammate with a secret talent?
Nothing comes to mind. Tom Cochran's annoyingly good at every sport. Like, he can shoot basketball, he's darts, he's kind of good at everything. Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Any tattoos?
No tattoos, clean skin.
Favourite player to watch play from another team, not Gold Coast, not Port Adelaide?
Jeremy Cameron. Hoping he gets to 100.
Favourite Australian cricketer of all time?
Probably Travis Head as well. Yep.
Guilty pleasure food?
Probably just palmy or chicken schnitzel with gravy at the pub with a few mates.
All right, last two. Who will play in the grand final this year?
Yeah, gee. I was going through this the other day.
Be careful how you answer this.
There's not many teams I'd like to see win it. I'll give you that. Let's go with the Giants.
Who
two
will they
teams.
play? Yeah.
Oh, God. No, I can't have Suns in it. Giants, Brisbane. Can't have Brisbane going back to back. We go Giants.
All right. And finally, Connor Rozee or Matt Rowell.
That's good.
Draw.
That's fair. I'll allow it.
I have two for you. So you would have crossed over with Gary Ablett. He left, you joined. Is that right? Or was he there when you were there?
Nah, he's already back at Geelong.
Right.
When I got there, yep.
So he leaves, you get signed. If he was there, would you have asked him to sign a Guernsey for you?
Nah, no way. I'm not annoying a great like that. No.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So then if you had the opportunity like they do in the Premier League and international football, and I've seen it happen once before, I think. I think I saw Cam Guthrie swap Guernseys with Chris Judd once. Yes, and Cam Guthrie has the Chris Judd one. I don't know if Chris Judd has the Cam Guthrie one. Who would you swap your Guernsey with? Would it be Jezza Cameron?
I've got an amazing story on this. So
do it.
The great Rory Atkins.
Love Rory. We love Rory.
A while ago, hit up Gaz to back end of Gaz's career for a Guernsey swap. And Gaz has gone the odd, I can't right now, but I'll talk to you. Message danger or whatever, and we'll sort something out. He's like, yeah. Start telling all the boys about it, and he's still never got a hold of Gaz and that Guernsey.
Mate, the rat has form on this because he told us that he snuck into a Steve-O from Jackass performance when he was playing for the Crows, and he emailed the organisers and he said, look, I've got a Crows Guernsey to present to Steve-O. So they let him backstage to present it just so he can get in. He said he got through 2 levels of security to close to the One Direction concert once.
Absolute weasel, right?
And then this is the other one, and hopefully he's not listening to this. I knew a few players that were playing in the A-League All-Stars match against Manchester City years and years ago. And Rory Atkins messaged me once and said, do you think you could ask one of your mates to get Carlos Tevez to sign a Guernsey for me? I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Not afraid to ask a favour from someone, no, right? You get a call or a text from him and you go, what does this bloke want? He's not afraid to put someone under a bit of pressure for it, for his sake.
Look, you know what? What saves him is that he's a great human being.
He is.
So are you, mate, and we're really glad you've joined us today to share a bit of your story and been so open and honest. And everyone at the club and outside of the club just wants to see you playing consistent good footy. So enjoy the off season because we know that you're going to do some travelling, which is fantastic, and then come back bigger and better than ever, because I think through our disappointment and sadness, it presents excitement because we know what you can do, and you're just at the start of your career, mate. So it must be really exciting for you as well once you get through all the disappointment.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Wasn't the year I hoped for, but I'm looking forward to a great pre-season with all my teammates again, and put the work in, and I know it's basically only up from here, so it should be good.
Another episode of Peeled with our guest, Jack Lukosius.